So where are we? Well, there's nothing really remarkable happening at the moment in history to mark this moment in time. America continues to develop its friendship with Russia and pick fights with Europe. It's frosty outside. It's February 2025. Welcome to the internet. Seriously, a humorous look at tech, news and politics. I'm Lucien Taylor in Oxford.
I'm Emily Taylor in Oxford.
And I'm Kieren McCarthy, also in Oxford.
Thank you. Coming up today, a 19-year-old high school grad known as Big Balls is now working for Elon Musk under his DOGE program and has been granted access to highly sensitive information about American agents. Is America adopting a new stance on data privacy? Next, the UK Home Office has served a notice on Apple demanding lawful access to encrypted content. Is it time to change the way we frame this debate? And DNS, the domain name system Overseer ICANN, was recently phished and its Twitter account flooded with crypto garbage. We ask, why do people still bother with X? I think, Kieren, we'll start with your topic about our favourite of ours, this organisation called ICANN. Before we do, please subscribe to this channel. We're starting to build. We think we got 1,000, which I know out there in YouTube world is not much, but actually we're building and building. We're coming. It's going to be soon. After Kit Boga last week, you know, our target is 4 million. We're going to beat him. Okay. Yay! Yes, great. Yeah, but Kieren, you wanted to talk about the wonderful ICANN. Do you want to just describe what ICANN is briefly for those who don't focus on ICANN?
Oh, what is ICANN? Yeah, ICANN is sort of the overseer of the domain name system. So it sort of brings together all the different components of people that oversee the DNS.
This is an American company.
It's American. It's non-profit, based in LA.
Acronym. What does it stand for? Something names and numbers.
Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's about the domain name system.
Do I get a sticker?
And yeah, you should. Yeah,
should we have some stickers?
I know ICANN. It's like, you know,
sticker.
It's yes. It's like only
Unpack
God
the acronym,
understands.
you get a sticker.
That's right. Yeah. So basically, they manage internet.
They come up with the
addresses.
Rules basically for how the domain name system works through slightly elaborate processes, but there you go. And they got phished. They didn't say exactly what happened, but clearly one of their comms team must have received either an email or a text message or something trying to access their Twitter account.
We were talking to law enforcement yesterday, Emily. Phishing, we keep using these terms and we've got to keep unpacking them. That is when you're able to get inside a technical system through what seems to be an innocent process.
Yes, it's a sort of two-stage process, isn't it, Kieren?
Yeah.
So you get a message from, you know, somebody who's an imposter, but, you know, they're your bank, they're your boss, whatever.
Boss is very
Boss
popular.
is a popular one. You know, do this. It sort of puts you under panic or the offer of a reward. You click a link, and that's when that's when you're the fish and you've taken the bait.
So this is interesting because if you've got a boss who's like a bit of a bully and will make demanding things, I'm not saying anything about ICANN or their sort of particular way of communicating with each other, but if you've got a boss who's a bully and is ordering you around to do things, you're used to jumping, aren't you?
Yeah. For sure. And panic. And they had multi-factor on it as well, which means that it wasn't just one. They must have then approved the thing. Wow. But the interesting thing was they got obviously they fished and they got access to their account, and then they put up a post about a new cryptocurrency coin, which they've called DNS. Where the DNS comes in, and then they had and they attached it to what was a website, dnscoin.org. So that was up.
So it sounds like it was a real kind of planned thing. It isn't like, you know, diet pills or stuff.
No, I think
like
there was
that.
definitely some planning behind it.
So just take me through this again.
ICANN-ish.
Its website published some information, or you mentioned its Twitter account.
ICANN's Twitter account posted about this new coin, DNS coin, find out more information, and then directed you to a website, DNS coin.
Oh.
And what did that do?
I don't know. It's been taken down. Now, the interesting thing about the being taken down, well, thanks to our GSE that we have,
Global Signal Exchange.
I asked our Global Signal Exchange. I asked our tech team to look at it. So they saw this come through the system. What's really interesting, it takes an average of 3 days for a domain after it's been reported to come down. We have how many? Hundreds of thousands of these records. So on average, it's 3 days. This one, less than a day.
Ooh.
So I think if you happen to be, the DNS overseer and you get hacked and it points to a dodgy domain name, and also it was registered by GoDaddy, which is one of the biggest registrars, then it just so happens that if you are ICANN reporting to GoDaddy, it happens a little bit faster.
So it is possible then.
It is possible.
You've actually
the right people.
Got to the question I wanted to ask you, Emily. ICANN gives all its members who manage domain name endings, whether it's the .com, whether what we call the first level or the second level, the sort of nominates the something UK or the registrars, they seem to work to a service level amongst them all, don't they, of 3 days?
I think it's 1 day. It's 24 hours in the amended
Okay, I've been
agreement, but it's taking 3 days on average.
I see. I thought it was 3. I think it had been extended to 3 days. We'll find out more.
We'll find out more.
I find this plethora of information.
It's just there's so much detail. That's so typical of the domain environment.
Yeah.
Like if you don't get absolutely every single detail absolutely perfectly correct, you can.
But if you know the right people and you put in a call, it happened on the 11th. We saw the first thing come in on the 12th. ICANN announced that it had been hacked on the 12th. It was down before ICANN put up its announcement.
Now, ICANN, if you're listening, you should join the Global Signal Exchange. We are trying to help businesses like yours who are suffering from attacks actually have these things mitigated quicker, just with better information faster. So if you want to talk to Kieren, Emily or me about it anytime, this is a message to ICANN. Please get in touch. Okay, so we're going to be moving on to the next thing. But before that, it's time for our Guilty Pleasure Online. Kieren McCarthy, what is your guilty pleasure online?
My guilty pleasure is getting back at trolls on delay.
This is fantastic.
Now do you get trolled a lot?
Yeah, I get a lot of trolls.
Why would that be,
I don't know.
Kieren?
I can't imagine why.
You're just so inoffensive.
Now we're trying to bridge the gap between techies and normal people. What is a troll?
Oh, it's someone that sort of responds to you online in a way that is just designed to irritate and annoy you and get an angry response.
I'm sorry,
does it ever get under your skin, the trolls? Does it ever get to you? Because
no.
I think
no.
Because I go, if anybody says anything
or you delete your
negative,
account,
I just freak out.
All normal people absolutely loathe it.
I just feel really scared.
If you've worked for the organisations that I've worked for, and if you've been a journalist a long time, it's just part of the job.
Do you acquire that?
Yeah, it used to irritate me. Early days, it used to irritate me.
And then would you get all kind of buzzy head and I must go?
Well, the things that the trolls do these days is they sort of assert some level of authority, or they say, I know this to be true, or they question your premise just to sort of get under your skin. And the more serious you are, the easier that gets under your skin. Until you realise.
So what's the delay thing then?
Well, so the delay thing is that all this works, and it just works at speed. So you say something and then you get annoyed, and then you respond, and then they respond. It just becomes a spat, and then you all fall out.
Yeah.
But what I do is whenever I pop one up, I formulate a response in my head, and I come back to it the next day. And it's a very strange tactic, but it works incredibly well because the troll is expecting that response. And then when you don't respond, they sort of think, well, I've got them there.
I won.
And then if you literally just say, oh, yeah, I meant to send that response, you send the same response a day later. That delay really gets under the troll skin because they've got off trolling someone else.
So are you trolling the trolls?
Yeah, I troll the trolls. It's my gift.
I just want to say, I wanted to say two things about this. One is, sometimes the troll is just caught up in the moment because the internet is and I don't think that all trolls are necessarily evil. I had a troll last week because we were talking to the great Kit Boga, and he's got a huge fan base, and Kit was coming on my show, so I was going to do my introduction, and the troll was immediately like, "Get the fuck off, let Kit talk."
Who are you?
And,
on your show.
If I just sort of started my show by going, "Kit,
let's go. Tell me."
Mind you, Kit Boga could have totally handled that.
I'm sure. Well,
he'd have been a little surprised.
Because actually he was coming on to help us and join in, but we have to do our normal intro and everything. But anyway, that was.
It sounds like it may have got under your skin a little bit.
It got under my skin because
go.
Anything that's personal does get under your skin, and also he would want his community to try and help build and actually our conversation is a bit more boring than Kit Boga's conversation. He's actually really in there having fun, and we're trying to educate and sort of engage with that. But the other thing I wanted to say was this whole psychology thing of the troll's sense of safety. And it does remind me of, like, I saw a nurse once in hospital during some family sort of visit, and she was lovely. And then about a sort of day later, I saw her in her car, and she's like, through the window because she's safe. We're all on TV. There's something about, wouldn't you say, Emily? Something about the digital environment, whether it's you're behind this screen, that makes people nasty monsters.
Yeah, and I think that is right. I do often think it's like a road rage thing because people feel safe. They feel a kind of sense of anonymity, even though there isn't one. They behave in ways they would just get punched if they said.
I literally saw that on the way driving here today. I drove here today, and there was a crossing in Barnes in London, and I don't know, she was maybe 14, a schoolgirl. Halfway across the crossing, and a woman in a car in front of me just went, "No!" and then drove through. It was like, oh my God, there's a literal child.
Yeah. Kill a kid.
I'm in car. I'm in car.
You move. Anyway,
literally nearly killed a child.
But she was right.
Yeah, she was in car.
We don't advocate that. Lots to talk about today. What are we going to pick next? The UK Home Office has served a notice on Apple. This is really strange. I remember David Cameron talking about we've got to end encryption, and then somebody said, people's passwords, their bank accounts, their phones. Do you really want to sort of open encryption? I'm fascinated by this sort of demanding lawful access to encrypted content. Now, as an engineer, I know that Apple, unless they're bullshitting all of us, are going to have to develop new software, new phones that allow breakability, because not even Apple employees can get into your data. Quite right too. They'd be accused of all sorts. But you raise this sort of what do you think about this? Do you think this is a goer? Do you think this is realistic?
I can't really see it working out for anyone in this scenario. The difficulty is that the notice is served under the Investigatory Powers Act, the UK law. So it's a secret notice. Nobody knows what it says, and it's only been reported on because somebody leaked it. But so we don't know the detail of this case. However, you're right, encrypted content is encrypted. And if Apple are saying we can't see the content in this service, they're probably right.
Well, there are tools to decrypt it, obviously, for the user. You do WhatsApp.
When it's on your phone.
It's decrypted. And obviously it would be nice to be able to snoop on everybody. But then you get a bad actor on the good guy's side, and they can go in and look at everything to do with their bank manager and whatever.
Well, what I feel is like, you're right. It has to be encrypted for the user to see it, but that's where it's end-to-end encrypted. So Apple in the middle don't get to see it. So what's the government after? What are all governments after? This is a repeating cycle. It's been going on for 25 years or more since the Clipper chip incident.
Why are we still having this circular argument? I don't understand.
Well, is it dumb and it's a bit like saying to me, Lucien, I want you to produce leprechauns from your house. Well, I'm going to have to re-engineer my house to produce a load of leprechauns because I don't actually do that at the moment. Is there actually a backdoor there?
It's really hard to know because nobody wants to talk about it and everything is couched in national security. And so it's really hard to know what's really going on here. So the fact we're having another iteration of this, I think that either there's some element of law that we're not aware of, and in the US there's a whole bunch of secret law around this, or there's been a change in the technology which is now being pushed again, and it's going on behind the scenes, but something is going on. They can't literally be having the exact same conversation. So they're pushing again somewhere, and Apple is pushing back again. But I do think the only way to resolve this properly is like actual adults, which is to have an open conversation about this and say, what access should the government have access to? What data should it have access to in order to keep us safe? And have that conversation rather than this peculiar roundabout that we have right now.
And then you develop open and transparent processes, and you develop actual software and hardware systems that allow that.
And it is like, your leprechauns example. Sort of if you get stuck in a vicious cycle of decrypt this, no, you love criminals, no, you love.
It's very polarized.
Yeah, it's just totally and everyone loses. And instead, we've got to reframe the conversation because, we know, like with the global signal exchange, we are never discussing breaking encryption. We're discussing sharing things about links. Have you seen that link? Yeah, I've seen that link. And there's so much that you can actually collaborate with without getting into the stuff that's really sensitive, really pointless. You're never going to win that conversation. And a curious aspect of these is that we never see Apple.
My next question to you, because you were asked on the BBC last week to comment on this, and you were actually saying, but if this is indicative of not a very friendly relationship between the government and Apple, wouldn't you say? And we go to a lot of tech conferences around security, and we're talking all the time to Google, Meta, Microsoft.
Yeah.
Where's Apple?
Apple not there. But you're right. The law, I looked at it, to serve this sort of notice, there's a whole load of steps that have to be gone through first. So first of all, the government have to engage with the provider and check that what they're asking for is technically feasible.
Yeah.
And they also have to also consult a technical committee, all sorts of steps. So how did those get done?
That's why I think there's some. Apple has made some
know.
Change somewhere, and the government's seen an opportunity to stick an oar in.
Yeah.
That's what I think's happened.
Lots to talk about, and lots coming up. We're going to watch this Apple thing because it's going to roll and roll. And also, we really want to... Apple, if you're out there, come and talk to us. We'd love to sort of explore this more. Maybe you can come on the show. Now we've got Kit Boger and the likes of that on the show. The big guys are coming. Oh, there's Emily with Kit Boger last at the conference. So
let's get Tim Cook next time.
We'll get Tim Cook from Apple. We've now had Kit Boger. And just so you know, that photo is real. It's not AI. And we do know Kit Boger, and he is a pal of ours. So, sorry for the long introduction last week, but actually, he's agreed to help us. I'm okay, babes. So before we go on to our next topic, which is actually, I think we're going to have fun with a little quiz about Safer Internet Day. But before that, it's time for our Tech Room 101. Room 101.
Lucien Taylor. Tell us your Tech Room 101.
What do I want to throw in the tech bin for the rest of its life? Well, you know me, I love it when I have a whinge. I love it when I've got something to complain about. So I'm gonna invert something that actually is my tech, something not Room 101 that I really love, which is touch pay, Oyster Cardy type stuff in London. I'm free. I can arrive in London. I don't have to. You've got to go to the window and you've got to buy a bloody thing. And immediately you arrive in London, the city of dreams, and you have a row with a guy who hates customers and just wants to make you feel awful.
Yeah.
But so you just like Harry Potter with a wand. In fact, we saw one once who'd put his chip on a wand, dressed as a wizard, and the gates opened for him. And actually, it was a touch pay card. It was absolutely brilliant. But anyway, this touch pay, I went through with a wheelie case.
Yeah.
I went through with a wheelie case, and it went bang on my ribs.
Have
and
you
I was
had
like,
that?
and I was stuck in it, and I realised, and then they undid it. You shouldn't have done this, and you shouldn't have done that. And that just reminded me of the shopping thing last week, where it's like, you don't do it like that. And we got all of this internet mediated fantastic technology, which is fantastic, but they still miss out the human bit, And now at Ealing Broadway, everybody, warning, they're doing automatic punishment systems where they basically assault you. It's like being punched in the face for getting it wrong. I'm like, yeah, you feel upset with me because I've got something wrong. Take me to court, sue me, fine me, but do not punch me in the ribs. So that's going in my Tech Room 101 because it's a tech system, but now they've added automatic punishment. So
it's almost like it's not allowed to be really good.
No.
Some way of making it annoying.
How can we shitify this wonderful thing?
This is not public transport if it's not slightly miserable.
Yeah. And if you don't get then 10 people telling you off loudly, so you've just got like, what happened now? You did it wrong.
I think that's the main reason the line's on the tube is so they can tell people off.
Yeah.
Behind the line. I mean, no one wants to be hit by a tube.
I think there's full agreement for my my Tech Room 101, and this is going to roll them up. We'll come back to the Ealing Broadway problem many times. Anyway, it's time for our quiz. And our quiz this week, and we talk about it as though it's like, $1 million quiz and I'm making that much money.
What's
but
the
it's
prize? Is it stickers?
I don't know, actually, because I didn't design this quiz, but it's focusing on Safer Internet Day. So for those of you who are out there in the UK or in the world, I think globally, there is Safer Internet Day. So guys, what are the rules?
It's Safer Internet Week, everyone.
Yay.
Way.
Hooray!
I feel safer already.
I was wondering this week. I felt a little bit safer. Wondering what it was.
Yeah, I felt safer.
What's the quiz, voice of God?
The rules. Wait, I'm being given instructions.
Okay.
So this is.
Are we seriously? I mean, honestly, this is really crap. Are you really reading from a manual?
I'm reading from a MacBook, actually.
God,
God, you're supposed to know things.
Right, so
God.
Right, can I explain the rules to the game?
God's got a little bit touchy with us.
Testy God.
Careful.
Okay, so the whole quiz is cancelled because God had a straw.
Alice Taylor is saying the game is called Match the Virtue Signaling Safer Internet Day Pledge to the Systemic Data Breaches and Customer Cybersecurity Failures for These Big Brands. That is the snappiest title I've ever seen.
Match. Okay, let's hear it.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read out a company's proposition for what they are doing for Safer Internet Day. And wait, what are the rest? And then there is 3 choices.
Okay.
And you have to guess which one of them applies to the company who are doing said virtue signaling.
Let's try one.
So we'll try one.
We'll
see how it goes. Okay, so this is Virgin Media's claim. They say, we have invested heavily in the fight against fraud, rolling out AI-powered spam-fighting tools.
Oh, well done, Virgin
Exclamation
Media. That's
mark.
really making me feel warm and fuzzy.
But there are three things that are.
Okay, so option A. Option A. I'm going to give the voice of God a little rest because I think he needs to lie down.
Oh, it's on the screen.
Okay, so is it option A, 2024 data breach exposing 2.9 billion records? Oh dear, containing personal data for 170 million people.
Seems quite bad.
Seems terrible. B, named the worst telecoms provider in Britain due to poor customer service and a data breach affecting 900,000 customers. Or C, using users' personal data to train their AI model without consent.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Oh, thank you. Sorry to...
So which one of them applies to Virgin Media?
I'd
you
say
think?
I'm going for B.
Emily.
Gosh, I think all three could be the answer. I'm going for C. Bit of a wild card there.
I'm definitely going for all three.
Kieran, did you make your
B.
choice? B. Kieran, you are correct.
Yes.
Yay!
Virgin Media were named
The
the
worst
worst
telecoms
telecoms provider in Britain due to poor customer service and a data breach affecting 900,000 customers. Let's try one more.
Okay,
now that
one more. Now we know the rules.
Yeah.
Let's snappy whip through it.
Yeah, let's go. Okay, so
It's panicking.
Safer Internet Day, O2 have said,
O2.
we have unveiled Daisy, our state-of-the-art AI granny, designed to waste scammers' time.
Okay, there's a few of these. This is scam baiting. Kit Boga is a scam
Yeah.
baiting.
They've nicked this from the Boga, haven't they?
There's Stop Scams
Yeah.
UK. They have a couple of scam baiting things happening. There's Kit Boga. There's the there's the New Zealand
the New
initiative.
Zealand,
So
which is
yeah,
re-scam.
Yeah,
exactly.
that's
It's
wonderful.
all
AI
gravy. It's all
Yeah,
gravy.
Everyone loves a
Yeah,
bit of granny.
love it.
However, what have they actually been doing this whole time? Is it A, suspended rollout of digital personal alarms for the elderly following the deaths of 2 vulnerable adults?
Oh no.
Is it B, victim of a phishing attack where 3 malicious messages were posted using the brand's X account? Or C, striking a secret deal to target ads towards 13 to 17-year-olds, violating Google's advertising policies which prohibit targeting under 18s?
I think it's C.
I think it's C as well.
Yeah, I think the phishing attack themselves. I think I would go for B because I actually. Oh, okay. All right.
We all got it wrong.
You're
As
all
I
wrong.
said it, I
God.
could see.
That's awful.
Yeah, of course I can. We've been
I just
talking about
thought
it
that
today.
A was just too terrible for it to really have
Yeah,
happened.
in the meantime, while O2 were rolling out Daisy, their state-of-the-art AI granny, they actually suspended rollout of digital personal alarms for the elderly following the deaths of 2 vulnerable adults.
I want to
That's
know more
not
about
good.
that.
Okay.
Not now, but I'm going to look that
We
up.
are-
Daisy's a bit of a. No, it's
Okay,
a young
thank you very
girl's
much.
name,
That was a
not granny
super
name.
quiz. We're getting back to some focus. We've got a lot of side chit chat
I
happening
liked it.
here.
I liked it.
I'm going to talk about tea, coffee that we're making later, and then get on with the show. Coming up now, a 19-year-old high school grad, known online as Big Balls, is now working for Elon Musk under his DOGE program. DOGE stands for the Department of Government Efficiency in the United States, and has been granted access, this 19-year-old, to highly sensitive information about American agents. Now, I ask, is America adopting a new stance on data and privacy? And I would also like to discuss this in terms of government efficiency. Why spend £100,000 if you don't give a shit about privacy? Why spend £100,000 on an engineer and a database engineer when you can get somebody
Called Big Balls.
You can get Big Balls to come and
Big
do
Balls
it.
in.
Yeah,
I don't know about you, but when I was 19, I was sufficiently responsible to be left in charge of the national government's payment processing.
I
weren't you?
definitely was.
I
Emily-
wouldn't trust myself now.
Emily,
This was
just
madness.
Emily, what kind of data are we talking about? You're a lawyer, and you know by background, and you know about data and privacy. Isn't Trump changing the game? Aren't people expecting this?
Well, it's also the role of Elon Musk as a commercial operator, bringing in his people. These are not government people; these are his employees, and going all over government systems. I mean, this just there's so many bits about this that make my head explode.
Sorry, you're talking as though he's coming in from outside and going through government systems.
The DOGE department doesn't even exist.
He is government. What are you talking about? He's been appointed by the highest
I think
authority
he's
in the world.
prince, or maybe he's the President Elon Musk.
What did you hear? What his kid said to Trump?
What did he say? Or what did the
we
child
should
say?
find the footage. I think this child is I think he's 4.
Yeah.
So 4-year-olds
Is he the one that
say
goes around on his shoulders?
probably.
That's right. There were pictures of
You know
him
that
last
4-year-old will say whatever they think. They don't care.
Yeah.
So this is the truth that I've
And
heard.
they normally say things that they've heard.
Right.
So, that let you down a bit.
So there was Musk was literally standing in the Oval Office with Trump behind the Resolute desk, and he for some reason had his 4-year-old there. I'm not quite sure that was the best idea. And and Musk is guffing on about big balls, and his 4-year-old stares at Trump and says, you shouldn't be here. You're not the president.
Yeah,
or
something like. I think it was.
Oh my God!
I think it was a bit worse.
How did that go down? Because I mean, Trump is not really the most thick-skinned guy in the world, is he? He will get his vengeance in this life or the next.
I challenge you to, because I think we're going to sit here for the next 4 years with you both shocked about everything that Trump does.
Well, this is pretty shocking.
What I find shocking is that yes. So Musk people tried to get into the Treasury payment system, and the first guy said no, and then he was fired. So then they tried again, but the next guy said yes. That's what I don't understand. Why did the next guy? Why is he so cowardly that he didn't say no? The previous guy was also right. That's what I don't understand.
But I think you still don't believe this has happened. You know,
they
have a mandate.
I'm finding it really hard to believe because this is America. This is the strong democracy, the land of the free. All of this, and this. If you heard this as a story from the 1930s about the descent into fascism, it would be this kind of story.
But this is where we are.
But then I feel like, am I either not doing enough or getting myself all caught up? Because what we see is also Trump completely changes on a you know.
Well, he'll say whatever he
we
says.
have the footage.
We have the footage.
We have the footage. Here we go.
Footage.
Let's listen to it.
Is to restore democracy. Prices from one year to the next are the same, and they're
You see, even with a kid.
And I checked recently with the president to make sure that these.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Shut your mouth. I mean, he is
shut your mouth
out of the voice of babes.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh my God.
We don't need to rehearse the highly sensitive information about American agents across the world and what a disaster that is, both in terms of leaking highly sensitive data with people that you have a bond of trust with. I just continually question. This is kicking down doors, throwing people out of the country, putting people on. This is what people have voted for. Why do we keep being amazed about it? They have a right to do this because this is what the people wanted.
But they
surely.
don't have. But what about the rule of law? And what about
It is the law.
But it isn't the law.
It is.
I mean, it's a violation of so many laws
in the past.
But
I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm not at all surprised that Trump is doing this at all. I mean, I knew he would do these kinds of things and that he would empower people to do these kinds of things. What I'm surprised at is that people aren't willing to put their jobs on the line when it crosses so many obvious boundaries. And you think, really?
Well, that's how bullies work, isn't it? They just they intimidate everybody around them into just capitulating.
But seriously, the idea of allowing someone access to a payment, like government payment systems, just because the previous guy was fired, that's like, well, you need to fire me too. That makes no sense.
The Office of Personnel Management in 2015.
We're becoming squeaky. We've also forgotten about
squeaky.
We need to talk about we need to talk about big balls a bit. He was, a teen working within the operations of the US diplomatic services centralized IT systems. He was fired from an intern job last year for allegedly leaking insider information to a rival company. So he was hired by Musk as somebody who leaks things, who's absolutely totally fine about he's obviously going to have no conscience about Emily's looking.
I just can't believe what I'm hearing. I can't believe that this is happening.
And the Post has reported that Korestein is his name. Edward Korestein is now a senior advisor at the DHS.
Well, who's the junior advisor? Elon Musk's son?
Anyway, we've had enough for today.
Okay.
Great fun. And these topics are going to roll and roll. We've had a 19-year-old grad known as Big Balls, who's now basically running very, very important services under Elon Musk's DOGE program. We're not talking about Dogecoin, if anyone remembers that, but the new Department of Government Efficiency. The UK Home Office has served a notice on Apple saying, decrypt your encrypted stuff or we're coming after you. Presumably they're going to ban iPhones or something like that. And the DNS Overseer ICANN was recently phished and its Twitter account flooded with crypto garbage. Thanks very much. Before I finally leave, follow us, like us, join us, and comment. We love your comments. Do we have a comment of the week?
We do have a comment of the week.
Just quickly.
Yeah, this is on our Boomers versus Zoomers video, the generational divide on the internet. This is from As It Is. They say, I don't think that knowledge of legacy internet infrastructure is an advantage to older generations. I think it's more important to know how to drive than to know how to change a tyre. Pardon me.
Wow. Okay, so basically...
Well, it is important to know how to drive and to...
Well, someone needs to know how to change a tyre.
Somebody does.
This person will learn very quickly that they need to learn to change a tyre when they're in the middle of nowhere.
I think it probably is a bit more practical than knowing how the deeper layers of the internet work. But I feel like knowing how the deeper layers of the internet work is something that somebody should know.
Yes.
Yeah, fair
Somebody
point.
should remember.
There's always people that know.
Yeah.
So they're saying, I don't want to know about the DNS. All right.
Okay,
I don't know.
fine.
Yeah,
Most
we
people
don't need to know
you are
about the
not
DNS.
alone. Most people don't want to know about the DNS. I appreciate that.
Thank you. And we'll keep our secrets to ourselves. I tell you, it's actually the big, deep stuff that is actually quite cool to know. But I'm not going to be defensive about it. If nobody really wants to know what's happening, that's fine by me. See you next week.